Hello all, Rick here with another Starship video breakdown. It's actually been a while since I tackled a canon vessel, so this time we're looking at one of the sleekest ships to drop from ages ago, the Shepard Class cruiser, my favourite ship on the Citadel. Both behind the scenes and in universe, the class was named after the American astronaut Alan Shepard, so let's get started with the analysis with its real-life origin. It was designed by John Eaves for Season 1 of Star Trek Discovery, which featured numerous revisions to the mid-23rd century ship designs. Stipulations included square nacelles being more prevalent to distinguish the technology from the original series designs, and this was justified with later in-universe lore as being older design styles in warp coil development, with the cylindrical nacelles becoming standard going forwards. The design maintained the style established for many of these ships, with a focus on streamlining the hull and elongating the nacelles, in many ways making it similar to the Crossfield class Discovery itself. The CG model was converted by Victoria Passarello for use in the shows. In universe, this ship is a product of Operation Next Step. This was the plan put into motion after the creation of the United Federation of Planets to incorporate new technologies from the new alliance into developing new vessels, after it all becomes clear that despite a refit program, the NX class would no longer keep up. The most prestigious ship to come out of this design era was the Walker class, however, that was shortly followed by the Shepard. This class was designed similarly to the Walker, to be a multi-role exploration vessel, and an important signal to the rest of the galaxy as to Starfleet's intentions. The first two classes of Next Step were both explorers, and the Walker was originally intended to be the first draft, with the more refined Shepard being a larger and more concise ship. However, the Walker class proved to be unexpectedly effective, with its myriad of disparate technologies complementing each other and numerous workarounds ensuring it performed above expectations. As a result, the Shepard class basically had its thunder stolen a little. It is undoubtedly an effective ship, but only marginally superior to the Walker. In time, however, it would go on to outlast the Walker, as it was easier to maintain, but it was a slow start out of the gate. The vessel, despite its scale, was classified as a light cruiser, and two prototypes were completed for testing in 2196 at Tranquility Base. On the 5th of May, the Gagarin and Shepard launched from Copernicus shipyards on Luna, both being moon-to-orbit launches. However, the vessel was not capable of landing in standard gravity. Other yards that created this class were the San Francisco and ANZAC high orbital shipyards of Earth, and the Planitia Burr dry docks of Venus. The Shepard class took on similar roles to the Walker class over its lifetime, but was able to receive the Duotronic computer system overhaul in the 2240s. This freed up a lot of internal space, which was then dedicated to new labs and additional phaser arrays, granting it one last lease on life. In this decade, plans were also put into motion to build the new frontline exploration vessel, the Constitution class, which underwent numerous other innovations, pivoting ship design going forwards, and the Shepard class's days were numbered. When the Constitution came into service, these older vessels were pulled from the frontline exploration duties, their crown now passed to the Connie, and they took up operational roles within Starfleet, but no new ones were commissioned. The Shepard is one of the larger vessels of the era, along with the Crossfield class, sitting at 505.5 metres long, which makes it around 264 wide and 72 tall. 5 is a recurring theme with this ship, as it also has an average crew complement of 550. While it's technically a larger ship, it actually has less internal volume than the Walker, as much of its frame was either empty superstructure or filled with equipment. It looks to have around 18 decks. In terms of propulsion, it featured a horizontal warp core that was based on the Walker's class that came before it, as that had ironed out many of the issues with constructing this new drive. However, like most other systems, the Shepard took what the Walker did and optimised it. So while it had basically the same specifications at launch, it was more compact and easier to manage. It had a cruising speed of warp 5.7 and a maximum of 6.9 for 12 hours, but by the end of its life, however, it could achieve warp 8 on the old scale, upgrades that were nearly impossible for the Walker. It had 2 impulse engines, which frankly were nothing special. In terms of armaments, it had 6 dual phaser banks on top, and from visual inspection a further 10 on the underside. All but one of these arrays are focused around the saucer section, and another reminder that all of these saucer mounts could be condensed into just 2 phaser strips, highlighting the superiority of that design. Naturally, it does have photon torpedo launchers, 2 fore either side of the deflector and 2 rear. In terms of sensors and deflector systems, it utilised the same as the Walker class before it. It had a rear-facing shuttle bay and some cargo access, and there are several other hatches around the hull. There's also a rail under the vessel along its keel, which has an access hatch inside it, the purpose of which I don't know. Now, as a partner video for this one, you can check out the Gagarin class breakdown, because this ship directly led to its creation. The story of Yard 39 is still apocryphal, yet the results are now canon, so take that how you will. Essentially, in 2259, Atella Sector Federation shipyard was irradiated from its systems star, and while there were no casualties, it meant that the yard was rendered uninhabitable until the radiation had decayed enough to allow ships to return 150 years later. When they did, Starfleet had access to half-completed frames and a bunch of assets from all that time ago, and overhauled some to create new classes, with Utopia Planitia out of commission. The Shepard class vessels that were there were stripped back and equipped with the latest 6th generation technologies to produce the Gagarin class, an updated version of an old classic, with a slightly different mission profile. The Shepard class was a second pass at a good idea, and while ultimately its improvements were marginal, it was just enough of a step up to ensure that it lasted around 60 years of service before being ousted by the Constitution class. And let's face it, the Constitution reigned supreme when it left space dock for a time, considering it was designed to plateau in every field. The way I see this ship is the first example of the Excelsior, and the most pizza cutter of the pizza cutter designs. Thank you for watching this breakdown on the Shepard class cruiser. I've been Rick, and until the next video, thanks again, and goodbye.